Today, I have a story about loneliness. It's not just a story to listen to, it's one you can truly feel and learn from. By the end, not only will you understand loneliness better, but you'll also improve your English while connecting with an experience shared by many. So, are you ready to dive in? Escaping the loneliness trap, rebuilding connection. The silent weight of loneliness. Loneliness. It's not just about being alone. You can be surrounded by people, at work, in your neighborhood, even within your own family, and still feel its weight pressing down on you. It's that quiet, gnawing emptiness, the sense that something vital is missing, that no one truly sees or understands you. But what exactly is loneliness? At its core, loneliness is the gap between the relationships we have and the ones we want. It's the void between how connected we feel and how connected we wish to be. To understand loneliness, we have to first look at where it begins. The roots of loneliness. For some, loneliness starts with change. A big move to a new city, the end of a long relationship, or even a promotion that shifts the dynamics of your social circle. These transitions, though sometimes exciting, can create a chasm in our sense of belonging. In today's world, technology can paradoxically deepen that gap. We scroll through endless feeds of people smiling at parties, traveling to exotic places, or sharing moments of intimacy. But behind the screens, many of us feel isolated. Social media is like a house of mirrors, reflecting distorted versions of reality that make us feel like everyone else is living a richer, fuller life. Then there's the loneliness that isn't circumstantial but internal. This is the kind that creeps up on you, regardless of how full your life might seem. Maybe it's rooted in self-doubt, a fear of rejection, or past wounds that never fully healed. Sometimes, it's not the world pushing you away. It's your own mind, whispering that you don't belong, that you aren't good enough, that others wouldn't care even if you reached out. And that's the cruelest part of loneliness. It isolates you not just physically, but emotionally. It convinces you that you're alone in your struggle, even though millions of people feel the exact same way. The consequences of loneliness. What happens if loneliness is left unchecked? The effects are far-reaching. Mentally, chronic loneliness can lead to anxiety, depression, and even memory issues. It becomes a vicious cycle. The more isolated you feel, the harder it becomes to reach out, and the deeper you sink into your loneliness. Physically, the consequences are just as severe. Studies have shown that loneliness can weaken your immune system, making you more susceptible to illnesses. It raises your risk of heart disease, strokes, and even premature death. In fact, some research suggests that chronic loneliness is as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And then there's the toll it takes on the brain. Loneliness changes the way you think, making you more sensitive to rejection and less trusting of others. It alters your perception, making social interactions feel more exhausting and less rewarding. Over time, loneliness can reshape your brain in ways that make it even harder to break free. Breaking the cycle. So, what can you do? How do you escape the clutches of loneliness? First, it's important to recognize that loneliness is not a weakness or a personal failing. It's a signal, much like hunger or thirst, that something is missing. Your mind and body are telling you that you need connection, real, meaningful connection. Start small. If you've been avoiding people out of fear or exhaustion, take a single step toward reconnecting. Call an old friend, even if it's been years. Attend a community event or join a group that shares your interests. Volunteer at a local organization. Helping others can remind you of the value of connection and give you a sense of purpose. But reconnecting isn't just about other people. You also need to rebuild your relationship with yourself. Spend time reflecting on what you're feeling and why. Journaling, meditating, or even taking long walks can help you understand the roots of your loneliness. Practicing self-compassion is essential. Remind yourself that loneliness is a universal human experience. It doesn't mean you're broken or unworthy of love. For some, professional help might be necessary. Therapy can provide a safe space to explore the deeper reasons behind your loneliness and give you tools to navigate it. If you've been carrying unresolved trauma or fears, a therapist can help you unpack them and build healthier ways to connect with others. Reaching out to others. And if you notice someone around you who seems lonely, don't underestimate the power of a small gesture. A simple, "How are you doing?" or "I've been thinking about you" can open the door to a meaningful conversation. Sometimes, just letting someone know they're seen and valued is enough to lighten their burden. It's also important to remember that being there for someone doesn't mean you have to fix their loneliness. Simply being present, listening, sharing a laugh, or sitting quietly together can make a world of difference. Why connection matters. At the end of the day, we're wired for connection. Humans have evolved to rely on one another for survival, and that need for social bonds is still deeply ingrained in us. When we feel connected, we thrive. We find joy, meaning, and resilience. Loneliness may be a shadow that touches every life at some point, but it doesn't have to define you. With effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to reach out, you can find your way back to connection, both with others and with yourself. Because no one deserves to feel invisible. And sometimes, the first step toward healing is simply realizing that you're not as alone as you think. Remember, the journey out of loneliness is not about fixing yourself, it's about rediscovering the connections that make us human. And that journey, though challenging, is always worth taking.